Yes, I was
Say good night.
Ooh, the Sci-Fi Society crew.
We are the Sci-Fi Society.
DJ Anubis. Here with the Meltdown Radio podcast with my special guest, Sci-Fi Century, our fearless leader and founder of the Sci-Fi Society.
That whole story, like, that's pay-per-view, guys. Like, you don't get a lot of that stuff.
All right, one day.
How's it going, everyone? We are now live, and I'd like to welcome everyone who is watching to the Sci-Fi Society Podcast Volume 21. And joining me, four of the Sci-Fi Society. We got to start off with our Master-in-Chief of the Metal Tavern, DJ Anubis, and of course, the sexy kaiju goodness, Kevin Lambert from Entertainment HQ, and we got the Mayor G-Fest himself, Walter Lavelle Ross, aka Jedi Granville. Now, everyone, we're at 21, man. Hopefully, we keep going. We're at volume 21 of the Sci-Fi Society, and as everybody who's already seen the thumbnail, we're going to be covering another one of my favorite sci-fi horror films, and that's 2000's Pitch Black, starring Vin Diesel, Cole Hauser, Radha Mitchell, and Keith David. So first I gotta ask, before I get, because this is one of my favorite films. You guys already know this is one of my favorite films. I've been wanting to do this since probably 2 years ago, but I said, no, you know what? I wanted to save it a little bit, but nah. Like my boy Film Fanatic says, bro, just balls to the wall, bro. Just say all the shit you like, talk about the shit you like, review the shit you like, especially with the crew. So that's what I decided to do. But I want to ask everybody individually. I'll start off with Jedi Granville. When did you first see this film, man? Or when did you actually catch wind of it? I mean, because back then, the 2000s, there's still, internet was still in its infancy, but we still had pretty decent trailers going around that weren't very long. So when did you catch it first? Or when did you
It's
hear of it?
interesting you say that because, as you say, the internet wasn't fluent as it is now. And there used to be a show that used to come on E Entertainment called Coming Attractions. And every so often they show the trailers for new films that were coming out. And I happened to catch wind of seeing it on there. And when I saw it, I was like, what is this about? I mean, when you see it, it's like, okay, it's a sci-fi film. It's, they crash land, it's kind of a lifeboat situation. And what's up there? Brian, what's up now?
What up, Brian Sanchez? Thanks for joining the stream, man. Appreciate it.
But to conclude, I saw, like I said, I saw the trailer and everything, and I didn't have no inkling of what it was about until they show these creatures, and then when they find out that once the lights turn out, oh shit, what's about to happen here? So I didn't get a chance to go see it until my boy had saw it. That's local. Went to see it first. I was like, dude, I thought we were supposed to hook up and watch this together, but he came with me. We went to go see it at the Cinemark, and I wasn't really knowing what to expect from it. I'm thinking like, okay, it's going to be a pretty good sci-fi horror, whatever, But when you get into it, when you get invested in it, it's like, and this is what I love about films like this. They have little, when I say little, few characters in them. You get invested with them a little bit more, and you find out that each has some kind of agenda, motive, whatever it is. And when that subterfuge just cracked, when that system cracked that they usually rely on, boom, there you go. It's like, and that's how I come to see Pitch Black. But since then, it's, as you see, it's still one of those films that's still lingering in people's mindset. Sci-fi and horror.
Absolutely. And also, this is the film that actually put Vin Diesel out there as an action star. But remember, he was in Saving Private Ryan before that.
Right.
Yeah.
So he already had some leverage going into getting more more gigs as an actor.
And I just want to add this one little side note. This is something most might not know this. If y'all know it, you'll hear. But do you know the part of Vin Diesel? I mean, his part was actually going to another character actor. When I say character actor, another actor, and he's one of the worst actors in the world. It was going to Steven Seagal. The director originally was going to give it to Steven Seagal. I kid you not. And when you think about that, Steven Seagal in the part of Riddick, hell no.
What a
So
flop.
I just wanted to put that out there, because if people didn't know this, look it up. Because when I did some digging and looked it up, I was like, hell no. Steven Seagal in this shit, get the fuck out of here, man. So
No, but I was gonna say, now, Anubis, when was the first time you caught wind of this film, and of course what you thought about it, and yeah, when did you really like either watch it, or when did you hear about it? Both.
Well, first, the Steven Seagal thing blows my mind. I mean, could you imagine, right? Well, first you got to kill some people. Then, you do that little head spin, head shake thing. Here's the funny thing about Pitch Black. I did not remember Finn from Private Ryan. I don't remember him at all. Like, he was a smaller character in that. But somewhere, I think it was either a Sci-Fi Channel or this. You have to remember this. The time that this was released around the same time that Blair Witch came out. So the internet, despite being in its infancy, was using these like little websites to promote these films in weird ways. And I remember the Sci-Fi Channel kind of doing something similar. They were promoting this thing long before it came out. They had like a little clip of Vin Diesel they were promoting on the channel, and on the website it was giving you this background of what's going on. And I thought, this looks and sounds really fucking cool. Like, I like this concept. Even now, when I think about these top 10 lists of like my favorite anti-heroes and stuff like that, Riddick ends up on that list. So through that, I think I remember, I don't even know if I went to, I had to go see it at the theater because I saw it early on when it came out. So definitely But it was that weird promotion thing that I remember the most because, like, it just kind of started small and then people start talking about it. And they did things like that for Blair Witch. They did it for, unfortunately, the not so good When a Stranger Calls remake and stuff like that. But they were doing that kind of thing with using YouTube and stuff to kind of build these small promotional things. I don't know if it was cheaper to go that route at the time doing that or not, but it was kind of a cool concept at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, once I saw it, I was like, this is great stuff. I hope they do more with it because I didn't even know that it was based off any kind of like character previous to that.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, Vin Diesel, of course, people not knowing him, but before that, Gojira 851, what's up, man? And he had a good point. Vin Diesel started as Street Sharks. He was one of those guys that was trying to get out there, and he did a commercial, Street Sharks, when they had those figures back in the day, and he did a promotion for that. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up, bro. But no, yeah, I mean that too, Anubis. The fact that he's this is one of the best examples of an anti-hero. You couldn't get any better than an example of an anti-hero like this. And yeah, man, I mean, he didn't blow up overnight. Neither did the film overnight because the film was a late bloomer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as that, no, amazing, man, amazing. The fact that you brought up, and not only that, it's anti-heroism with a survival story or survival story. So that makes it even better. Okay, Kevin Lambert, my brother, when did you first catch wind of it, or when did you first see it?
I remember seeing this getting promoted on the television. It was just adverts on the television. And I think Anubis is right. It came out around the same time as the Blair Witch. And I remember the big hype. I didn't remember the hype over Pitch Black as much as I do Blair Witch, because the way Blair Witch was being promoted, probably in the States as over in the UK, it was getting promoted as this found footage film, that it was real, that it wasn't a hoax. And I remember for weeks after it come out, there was a lot of people wondering, was this a hoax? And eventually the creators had to come out and say, yes, the Blair Witch is in fact manufactured in a hoax. But I remember that, but I remember going to the theatres to see Blair Witch, and I seen in the foyer there was a poster for Pitch Black, and that was my first inkling of the movie. And then I think I had somehow seen one of the trailers on the television or the TV spot, and I didn't get to see it till a year later, till it came out on either VHS or DVD, one of the two. Might have been DVD, might have been one of the earliest DVDs I saw, and one of my friends had it, and I went over to the house, and I just loved it. Because I looked at it as like a proper sci-fi creature feature film that really caught me attention, but more so over the character of Riddick himself. Like, you've got like in Alien, you had the female protagonist, Ripley. And then in this, you had a female protagonist. But the difference with this, you had this other character in the middle of the creatures, in the female protagonist, and it was this anti-hero who was in it all. You didn't know if he was going to go totally bad or if he was going to become a hero by the end. And I love the attention between the characters and him, and the unknown of what he was thinking in his mind, and what if he was going to turn on them or if he was going to support them all the way through. And I love that kind of persona around him, and the kind of the tenseness and the atmosphere that brought in between having these creatures and then this female protagonist who's trying to basically get people home or to save the day. And it was a really fascinating concept. Little did we know after Pitch Black that it would spawn this entire world and this whole mythology and cultures and all that. And I think Chronicle Riddick, as much as I like Pitch Black, I think Chronicle Riddick gets a lot more praise because of the build-up of the world that came after Pitch Black. But you couldn't have got the Chronicles of Riddick if you didn't have Pitch Black.
I think what's funny about that is that for me, like, as much as I love Chronicles, like, you kind of touched on with these characters in this film is that they each have failures. Like they all have faults, and some of them have character arcs, some of them don't. But the thing is, as much as I like Chronicles, I actually like the third one a lot because it ties back to Pitch Black.
Yeah.
I love Father John's in the third one, so like that makes a great, interesting story that builds together. So Chronicles is great for what it is, but like it's the two ones that kind of like bookended that I like the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. And that's a thing. Like they're in this like it's a world that is uninhabited. Well, was inhabited until we all find out what happened. Before we start getting to the actual movie, it's my kind of thing, to like, and it's for me to start off before I get to how I first saw it and what I thought about it. I want to say DJ Anubis and Walter and Kevin and I, we want to give our prayers, and even though it's the outskirts of a storm, we want to give our our prayers to our brothers, Matt and Anthony. I mean, it's still just after effects of storms, bro, but what we're hearing, it's not fun. So we just want to let you guys know that, man, that we got you. You got our support and everything. And then
And I also want to just give a shout out to Samurai. I know he's going through a tough time right now, so
Yeah.
just shout out to him right now.
yeah, that too for Preston, that Fat Samurai guy, man. You're in our prayers, brother. All three of you guys in our prayers. And then unfortunately, Omni, Michelle Omni couldn't join because life happens, and of course also Ryan George Collins, aka the Omni viewer, couldn't join because he's dealing with some stuff too. So, but now I'll get to the part where I thought about when I first saw this film. I saw this film, I think, a little bit after the year 2000. It already came out, and there was a friend of mine who invited me to his house, and he got this movie, and I saw it, and I was, wow, dude, like I was amazed by it. We watched the whole movie. I wasn't into it at first, but then I saw it. But then ever since then, I got stuck with Vin Diesel as an actor, but I didn't know. I thought since I saw the film, I didn't even know who he was. Like I didn't even know he was the same Private Ryan until later. I didn't find that out until later. But I saw him, and then it was. I saw the film, and it was great, man. I saw the films. It was great, and I really thought that, wow, who is this guy Vin Diesel? Never, does anybody even have a last name Diesel in real life? So I'm like, and then I didn't buy the film until probably 2003 or 2004, when the next Chronicles of Riddick, the actual Chronicles of Riddick movie, was going to be released. And I actually have here, even in the old DVD cover, it's a ticket. It's a ticket voucher for if I wanted to go see the Chronicles of Riddick, and that was the new movie. And
Cool.
I forgot this was in here because it came with the first release DVD of Pitch Black with the Chronicles of Riddick.
Nice. See, I have this one now. The interesting thing about this one that I have is that it says it's a trilogy, but it's not the third movie. It's actually the short film that was done between Pitch Black and Chronicles, which is animated, and it gives the synopsis of when Richard drops off Jack and the Muslim guy to the planet of Mecca, and then why he goes into hiding. So it's like a short film dealing with that in animation. So that's kind of cool, but I still need to get the third film on Blu-ray yet. So
yeah, so no, but I see like this one right here. It actually is a ticket to go see it. It's actually a ticket.
so it's like Willy Wonka. You got the golden ticket.
Right.
Yeah, but I never used it. So I mean, it's obviously I never used it, but yeah, I saw it at Walmart back before my parents even moved to this house, and I bought it, and I was like, oh hell yeah, man, I'm gonna see it. But it was during the time when the Chronicles of Riddick was coming out, and then because before that one never came out. That was the first time it came out on DVD because it was only on VHS since it was the year 2000 it came out. So this was the first release of Pitch Black on DVD. and that's why to me it has a little bit of significance. And I wanted to show the show right. Walter is a psychopath.
That depends. Is
Oh
it
my
Gene
God.
Wilder or Johnny Depp? Which one?
Well, Depp's more of a psychopath, but
Yeah.
Gene was pretty good.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, when I thought about it, it is a great film, man. I love the sci-fi horror aspect, and that's one of the really more gory rated R films that I saw in the 2000s that came out, and I really enjoyed it, man. And that is just like Event Horizon. That is pure sci-fi horror, at its finest, man. And it still has that old school where it makes everybody try to turn on everybody, and then it's the survivor style action movie with science fiction and stuff. But yeah, but now let's just get started on going through the film, man. And okay, I want to let Anubis start off because he says that Riddick is one of his favorite anti-heroes, and I gotta agree. And let's just start off with how the film is and take it away, DJ Anubis, man, and then we'll pass it along.
So yeah, so basically the film starts. There's a massive ship. There's some people in cryostasis. They're going on a pilgrimage to New Mecca, which is a place where they can kind of build a life. But during this transportation, you also have Riddick, who is a prisoner being transported, and he's got this nice glow, special little spot where he's tied up, and he says, "No, not for release," not for early release, and all this stuff. And of course, his guess you could call him almost parole officer, just officer who's taking him in, is across from him, which is John's. And then, of course, you have the 2 or 3 pilots, the captain and 2 co-pilots who are also in cryostasis. So basically, they're on their way. Then they end up coming across like a meteor asteroid field, which starts to tear up the ship. Some smaller ones penetrate the hull, and they end up killing the captain on impact in his little chamber there. And then, of course, the woman falls out, which is our protagonist, and then also, I guess, like the first officer or whatever. But chaos is happening. Some of the people, like Riddick, although Riddick, I think he was saying he was almost awake the entire time, which I can't really believe because it's a long ass trip and he would have been growing old. But either way, some of them in the first class section of this the ship start to wake up through the chaos. So now we have the protagonist woman. What is her name in this?
Carolyn Fry.
Yeah, so she's trying to pilot this thing because she's trying first to find out that they are actually going to crash land on this planet. So that's already a red alert there. So she's jumping in the seat. She's starting to pull on the brakes, and you got the fire from the atmosphere happening on the ship. And the guy, he must be in like a lower deck or something, the first officer, and he's like talking to her, and he's trying to help close up some of the hatches, and they're cutting dead weight from behind the ship. But then there comes this point where she's debating cutting the larger portion of the people that are
the passenger bay. Yeah, the passenger bay. Yeah.
So she's debating to cut more of the weight so she can level off the ship. But he's like, "Don't do it. We're responsible for these people." And he's pushing against her to do it. And she's like so close, and she stops. And finally, she doesn't do it, and they go into the atmosphere to get down to the planet, but they crash land, which ends up killing most of the people anyway.
Yeah.
On the back end of this thing. But the people in the first class, which you get this comment from one of the passengers, like, "It's a good thing I rode coach," so one of those comments.
Right.
So they crash land. People are scrambling around trying to see any survivors. And of course, Johns gets up and he's like, "You don't see Riddick anywhere." He's like, "Fuck." And so he's getting this light out. He's looking around, and Riddick actually tries to take him out by using the restraints on his legs to try to choke Johns, but he doesn't really succeed. Johns gets the bitter end of him, ties him up, and then he goes and tries to like help out the rest of the crew. And of course, Johns knows that she was trying to, or at least contemplating cutting those passengers loose sooner than they did. But yeah, at this point they're just scrambling around. Now they're trying to find, because they're in this hot blazing planet. there's a point. I don't want to jump too far ahead, so if somebody wants to jump in, they can. I know they start talking about the suns, which becomes a problem.
Yeah, I'll continue from that point and just to then I'll move it on to Jedi and Kevin. But the whole point was
Chocolate.
when
Yes.
it's a funny one what he said. The comment, I'll put it right now.
Is he trying to make me laugh this entire fucking stream?
Right. And then I was gonna say what I did like about the scenes that you didn't miss, but we're gonna get to is that when they actually crash and they find out survivors, they gather everybody, Riddick almost kills freaking Johns and whatever, then the remaining surviving passengers show her to the edge of the ship, the back of the ship, and then you see just how much terrain that ship took when it actually landed on that part of whatever planet they were.
Yeah,
and
it
then
obliterated everything behind it.
Yeah, and you said most of the passengers already died anyway. At least I think 70% of them died.
Mhm.
But the girl even says, "Well, goddamn, I'm glad you freaking, I'm glad it was you who piloting." And he was really like, "No, it wasn't really me piloting."
They're all like,
He said,
"You saved us, great job." And she's like, she knows deep down that she was really the bail on everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. Well, actually, to let you also know that she did do it, but her captain or her flight
co-pilot,
the co-pilot, he stopped it by jamming the doors. So she actually did pull that motherfucker. She was gonna kill him. So I was like, shit.
Because she says like, I'm not gonna die for them.
Yeah.
Which
And then
comes back full circle later, but
okay. From there, they go look at they saw the whole back of the ship that's just totally annihilated. And then they start thinking about, okay, what we got to do? They got to start looking for supplies, what's left. They got to salvage what's there. We run into the characters. We run into Zeke. We run into I forgot the guy with the glasses, man.
We call him Paris.
Yeah, Paris, and then it's Shaza. And let me get to the cast real quick.
Yeah, you got all leaders. Like, well, Rhoda Mitchell's character has like, excuse me, Keith Davis' character has like 3 sons, I think, with him.
Like it's okay. It's of course it's Vin Diesel as Richard B. Riddick, Rhoda Mitchell as Carolyn Fry, Cole Hauser as William J. Johns, Rihanna Griffith as Jack, Keith David as Abu Imam Al-Walid, and he's a Muslim, and then he had 3 other sons with him that were also, they're Muslims. And Claudia Black, oh wow, Claudia Black, I had a crush on her, man. Had a crush on her, and then it was Louis Fitzgerald as Paris, and Simon Berg as Greg. Yeah, so it's a pretty small cast, man.
Yeah,
but
but effective cast.
Yeah, very effective, man. Keith David, Vin Diesel, Rhoda Mitchell, Cole Hauser, bro.
Really, Cole and Keith are probably the most notable names when this movie.
Yeah, Keith David is just a legend.
Yeah,
the thing.
All of them, like they were, they were still at kind of like, well, Keith was already at his twilight years, but that's what he got more into voice acting. And then Cole Hauser, we remember Cole Hauser in Days of Confused, what was it?
He was in that John Huston? I mean, not Johnny, John Singleton film, Higher Learning.
Higher Learning. Yeah, Higher Learning. And he played one of the skinheads, and yeah, dude, like this role too, man, like just shows like all of these people have range, bro. Yeah. All of these people have range. And Cole Hauser, though, it's like he embraced this character, like he literally embraced it. Even the snotty fucking stab you in the back, like just scoundrel motherfucker, like one of those scoundrel motherfuckers.
He was like an art collector, wasn't he? And he had all that different art, like weapons.
Paris.
Yeah, that was Paris. But the characters, like even the girl. Oh, yeah, as a matter of fact, before we do that, I'm gonna pull up this photo that I had Anubis look up. This was from Rihanna Griffith when she was actually supposed to reprise her role in the Chronicles of Riddick. So I'm gonna bring it up, and that's that's what she looked like a little bit, a few more years after, because she was supposed to get the role for the second film, but she's basically just a model and an artist. So she even kind of said, well, you know what, I'm a girly girl. I don't think I can get in shape in 3 weeks.
Mm.
So and Alexa Davalos replaced her, but Alexa, you could just tell, was way more athletic, and she was
Yeah,
athletic.
she was.
But so yeah, she was supposed to, and Vin Diesel and was it David Toohey actually vouched for her to join, and they wanted her to come back, but she unfortunately she couldn't, and it was too rough for her to try to get in shape that quick, so she never. So that's why she never joined the. She never joined
Yeah,
the
I think
cast, so
that
she was
they
replaced.
probably see the thing with probably hurt that a little bit was that Chronicles came out so many years later, so it's like a kind of maybe if they had done it, make it 1 or 2 years after Pitch Black, she might have been a little bit better at getting there. But because there was kind of like this, not so sure if they were going to do the sequel and how they were going to do it, it might have been too much part, to
Yeah,
get in shape. So
yeah, no, but okay. Now we talked about the cast. Now getting back to the film, they're trying to salvage what they can. That's when they try to use a lot of what Kevin was mentioning, Paris's tools that he had, like his personal stuff, his personal collection. They had to use all of it. All this motherfucker had was liquor.
Yep.
and you're like, yeah, you thirsty? And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, dude, I'm like her. It's like, it's going to make you dry. Like, it's going to dry you out. It's going to be worse.
Yeah.
So their whole plan is to look for
But they
water.
weren't stopping. They were like, I don't care if I'm going to die. It's like, I'm taking this shit.
Yeah, like fucking like you see that he's like, it's all, I need a receipt for that. I need a receipt. All that's my personal stuff. And they start. But he has the good thing is he has some weapons that you can see that you can use. But what I noticed, some of those weapons looked like they were Australian, like traditional. A
Well,
little
you do
bit.
know this film was filmed in Australia anyway,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah. It was filmed in Australia. So yeah, like that's what I'm saying, man. Like it's the film. Like I said, we go there, they're salvaging, and then Riddick, while Fry and all of them are trying to get acquainted. They're trying to find out, okay, who else survived, whatever it is. So we gotta salvage what we can, whatever whatever supplies they can get, and then that's where we go back to the shot where Riddick is again. He's trying to be contained, but this dude just like he it's like he's found so many ways to survive within the harshest places of any environment. And the dude literally is like, his back is tied up to a huge pillar of debris, and the dude literally goes up and he just literally
dislocates his arms.
he dislocates his arms and his shoulder.
Oh no!
Oh, shit.
Okay, what happened?
There it is.
Yeah. There we go.
Wow.
Yeah, I wonder what it was. Everybody left, came back, but what do you call it up? Yeah, so this dude literally, like, he dislocates his shoulders, and then he pops them back in just so we can escape.
Yeah.
So that just shows the amount of, like, as a character, how much pain this dude can withstand.
Yeah.
And he has not just escaped from max slam prisons for nothing. So he's also an escape artist. I mean, they don't really elaborate on that too much of the film, but he's it's like he's built to survive. So that's the whole point. But he's also a murderer. He's also a ruthless killer. So that's another part of the character that we embrace. So he does that, and now they're like, shit, fucking John's again. He's like, God damn it, he's fucking gave me the slip again. So he tells everybody, and then everybody's panicking and shit. And this is where some of the banter comes in between the cast. And what I love about what John says, like, come on, man, if he's like, Paris says, well, man, if he's gone, he's left. Why the hell is he gonna bother any of us? He's like, maybe to take what you got, probably to work your nerves, or maybe just want to come up to you and skull fuck you in your sleep.
Mhm.
I like the fact that it says work on your nerves. This is basically he wants to fuck with you in a big way.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like he will do everything. And then I like what Shaza, Claudia Beck's character says. She says, "Sounds like a chama."
Mhm.
yeah.
Like, wow.
So,
So
I don't know about you, but soon as with the John's character, I immediately disliked him from the start.
Of course.
Like, I immediately just had this ick factor with him. Like, there was just something about him that I just couldn't get into, which was a good thing as the plot develops. We discover more about his character.
But that's the
yeah,
thing about this film is that Riddick, you get his gist right away. You know, he's like he doesn't play off as somebody, as you know, an angel or anything like that. You could tell, like, no, this guy will kill you in your sleep. But when you hear something like from John, and as Kevin said, John's like, why would he word it like that? Why would he word things like that? It's like something's not right. So it's like, yeah.
Well, what I like about the film is that you go in looking at Riddick, who's technically a monster in some ways,
Mm-hmm.
but then you look at Johns and you figure out he's like the real monster. Like he's
Yeah.
the guy you should really be looking behind your back for, because Riddick will just kill you in front of you, but Johns, he's a sneaky bitch.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like he's got that douchebag fucking like mentality, man, where he's all about himself, doesn't give a shit. He'll cut the line on his mom and let her fucking let her go, and
I mean, he
that's
proved that, like when the ship crashed, like the first officer was impaled and dying,
Oh yeah.
and what's her face, Carolyn was like, give me some of the meds to make his passing easier, and I guess John's like, no, we don't have any, and he's like,
he's like this.
yeah, yeah. And so I'm just like, this dude's a piece of work, man.
No, yeah, he was. No, but before I get to Kevin, I want to finish it out the fact where, they're getting to that point where they got to look for him. Now they got to look for him, and that's where Fry gives John's the explanation about what really happened. With the ship when it got hit, when it crashed, and you can see Riddick in the background, dude. Like he's everywhere they are. Like he's like you can't see him. He's like a stealth.
He's like a ninja.
Yeah, he's like a fucking ninja, dude. Like a mercenary, like somebody who literally an assassin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's like hearing, and he hears everything. He senses everything. It's like his heightened senses are, superhuman almost. And it's like he reads and finds out also what happened between, what's her name? Carolyn Fry and her co-pilot.
Right.
And he even knows all that shit, and he could have easily killed her. Right,
he was about to kill her. He was about to stab her, but he's like, when he hears that, it's like, and then what he does is he just gradually cuts a piece of hair, and he doesn't even feel it.
Yeah, he's off. So
That's actually a cool point too, because initially, before they even get there, they think it's a bunch of trees, so they think there's water there.
Yeah.
And then they arrive, and there's like all these carcasses of like these giant creatures, kaiju, we'll call them, that were just annihilated. And so, of course, they're thinking, well, we got 3 sons, so it must have been just they all died from drought or whatever.
Yeah.
And then so now I'll pass it to Kevin. Man, just before he is literally testing their minds. He's putting their mind through the grinder. Like he's constantly making them think.
Studying them too. He's kind of like figuring out. It's almost like, you remember McClane in Die Hard. He's in the elevator and he's kind of like writing down names and he's doing a checklist. That's sort of what Riddick's doing. He's getting to know who the people are he's with, because he'll know how to, like, if he has to take him out, what he can do, any kind of information he can use, etc. So.
And then so then I'll pass it to Kevin Lambert and go from there, man. Where they go back towards the ship. They find out that place where they thought were trees, like Anubis said, where it was actually just dead giant creatures from that planet. You know what I'm saying? And then
this is where, when they've discovered the creatures, these giant skeleton like bones, like a graveyard of these creatures. They also are like, what the fuck could have killed creatures this big?
Jump on.
Yeah, jump on.
We
Come and
just
join
got
the
started
party.
pretty much.
Yeah, we're just getting into the little juicy bits.
Right.
So
No, it's all good. I mean, it's all good. If you can, hey, the invite's there. So you want to jump on, just let me know. I mean, it's already there. You want to pop in if you can. But thanks for stopping by and hitting up in the comments. We know we got love for you, Omni,
Yeah,
especially
nothing but
Omni's
love for
Dark
you.
Realm.
Could it
Omni's
be
Dark
Satan?
Realm. Could it be Satan? Yeah, but go ahead, Kevin.
yeah, so what happens is when they discover these bones, they're like questioning what could have killed these creatures. So if you didn't know what kind of film this, you could have just thought, oh, it was natural, extinction. The species
Yeah.
has just died out. And then also when they look around and they notice, oh shit, there are 3 suns.
Yeah.
And then they realize the planet is
They were like, we hope it gets dark soon. Like, well, that's not gonna happen.
Right.
So much for your nightfall.
yeah. And I think this is where they go back to the wreckage, and this is when is it Zeke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Zeke,
they go back to the wreckage and they go to where Zeke is, and then is this not the part where as they're saying one of the survivors is there, and they assumed it was a Riddick, and Zeke blows the back of his head out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because Paris was sitting down just chilling, relaxing, and he hears
But the
something. And it's
greatest part about that is after Zeke shoots that dude in the background, you see Diesel wearing a seat. He's just chilling in the
yeah,
sun.
dude, I love that. Yes, look. You see his head, you see Zeke's head, and then he bends down and like zooms into Rick, and he just, taking a
I
sip.
laughed so hard at that. That dude's just like, yeah, I'm gonna let these guys kill themselves.
That's good filmmaking right there. I love that.
Well, I liked the bit like you see before, where they were around the bones and they were looking for Riddick, where they thought, and I loved that camera shot where it zoomed around the bones and he was hiding with inside.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
just an amazing camera work. So after that happens, he said, "Oh shit, sorry, I thought it was Riddick." Blah 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 blah.
So he says, "Crikey!" He's like, "Crikey!" Thought it was him. I thought it was Riddick. Yeah, I was like,
Damn, dude, you fucking jumped the gun quick.
Quick, dude. And you see how he's holding the gun. He's like, bam, but
Yeah,
he figures
it wasn't even like one shot in the air. He plugged him.
Let me say, hold on. I got a question from JC. Says, I do have a question though regarding the 3 suns. After watching the 3-body problem series and getting a crash course on the science behind
this is where
this planet
suspicion of
technically
disbelief
wouldn't
comes
exist.
into play.
Yeah, because that's the fuckload of gravity, and I don't know how fucking one planet can hold that many fucking planets in one.
Look, I thought of that too, but think about the situation with Tatooine. It has 2 suns. I mean, it seems like it shouldn't exist, but again, that's sci-fi.
I just said something like that. The gravitational pull of those giants would pull the planet out of its orbit. Exactly. I said there's too many. It's like exactly, Jay. There's that many. It's still there's still the moon.
Maybe they were on a moon. Like, I never really thought about it that way because you have Saturn. It looks like Saturn. It's not really Saturn, but it looks like Saturn. That ends up doing the eclipse eventually. And that's really close. That's a big ass planet. So maybe it's a moon that they're on.
Because it's a huge ass planet, and then there's 3 suns, one on side and the other side, and then that, like I said, that's too much gravity for one. If it's a moon, that moon would be just float right out of the way because there's too much gravity between those 3. It's 3 freaking supernovas, 1 giant planet, and the moon. So they probably were on the moon. Neil Tyson said 2. Just make it. You know what? Neil Tyson said 2 suns could theoretically exist with complications, of course, but can function. 3 sound crazy. Yeah, that's a good question, man. That was a really good question, bro. That's like one of the most scientific questions we've had on any of the live streams.
JC, without the 3rd sun, we have no movie, so we have to have it.
Right. He has a point, man. That was a great question, man. A great analogy.
It's a great point, but I'm just like,
we wouldn't have no movie.
Belief a little bit.
That's the thing. You got to remember. Never think that movie logic and real science will coincide with one another because they don't. That's just a gem right there. It's like you have to realize no movie would exist if you go with logic. Now, That's how
Yeah.
it works.
It says right here, look, even Gojira says right here, the rule of cool conquers science every time. Yep. Yep.
Well, if you can believe, you know, like in the Godzilla movies that a giant kaiju can exist, you can believe that a planet can have 3 suns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. Okay, go ahead, Kevin. Sorry about that. Go ahead. I wanted to answer that question because it was I don't think we've ever had a technical question asked like that in any
Nah,
of the
he's
streams.
making us think too hard. Quit that, JC. Quit.
We
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after this happens, a little bit later, Zeke, and that is like walking around the area, and this is where they
I actually have an
discover.
answer for him on that next one.
So
Yeah.
they actually find like this hole in the ground, and Zeke decides, oh, because he hears noises and he assumes, oh, Riddick might be hiding in this hole. So as he goes into the hole, he suddenly has his torch, and he suddenly, as he shines the torch into the hole, something grabs him and pulls him right through, and you can just hear the screams and the blood splatter. It's an amazing shot, and I think it's Jack that's like, oh shit, he's been killed or something. He finds the blood area, and they just assume it's down to Riddick.
That was
Yeah.
Shazo. Yeah, that was her guy.
Mhm.
She ends up pulling back the tarp, and that's when we see kind of like the blood on the hole. And then she looks up, and Rick's like, "Oh, better go. Somebody's gonna start thinking it's me."
Yeah. Go on, Kevin. Go ahead.
So obviously after that, when Zeke dies, this is when Caroline decides, you know, he's I think is this where Riddick does get captured.
Yeah, he gets captured for a third time.
Yeah, he gets captured, and after he gets, he's insistent that he didn't kill Zeke, and he's like, "I do not lie." And he's
He's
like,
kind of like, "You guys are all afraid of me, and I'm not the one you need to be afraid of."
mhm. And then suddenly Caroline decides to investigate and goes deep into this hole, the big cable attached to her. And this is when you get your first look at the alien species, which are like hammerhead shark / pterodactyl, like fucking bird things.
Yeah.
And they just look evil as fuck. They look menacing. They've got teeth, they've got jaws, everything. She obviously scrambles to survive to go up through the hole. It starts pulling on the cable to pull her back down, and luckily she survives. And this is where, after that, they realise Riddick is actually, you know, telling the truth. And this is when they realise maybe they need to use Riddick to survive, in that they actually could use him as an ally.
No, and then the fact that when he got captured, that the light of day is where Riddick is most vulnerable because he has super high photosensitivity, and it's very hard for him to see without the goggles that he uses, because the goggles are like they're like sunglasses that
They're like
they dissipate a bit of the light so he can actually see. But yeah, that's the part about him that's it's like a yin and a yang. You know, everybody's got a weakness, and he says it himself in one of the films. Like, everybody has a weakness, but it's like So he gets captured, and this is where he's interrogated about, oh, you know, you killed Zeke. Like, he's like, did I kill Zeke? No, you got the wrong killer. And then she's like, we didn't. Well, he wasn't in the hole. It was like, look deeper. And like, and just the way, like when he debuts, the way his eyes really look when he tells Carolyn Fry to come, you know, come closer. He's like, come closer, and that's when he shoots up and he shows his eyes. And that was a cool part, referencing what he's all about, the advantage he has over people, and you know, in the dark of night, or in dark in general. And it's such a great like way to, let's say, perceive an antagonist, but the antagonist that pretty much becomes an anti-hero. So that's what I wanted to add. Okay, so we're at the point where they find out he's been interrogated. It's not him, and then
They end up having to leave the wreckage, and that's when they find this geological science base.
Yeah.
And it's when they go in there, they're starting looking around, and they know that there's this creature, and they suddenly look, and they find like this area inside one of the rooms inside this giant center, and there's that giant chart that spins around with the moons and the sun.
I do want to add something real quick. There is a moment when Riddick gets caught for that time, thinking that he killed Zeke. Fry is like talking to him, and trying to get some answers and everything. And she's like, "I want to see your eyes, Riddick."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You have to come closer." And then of course he looks up and he's got these like silvered, glossy eyes. And of course Jack gets snuck him down, and she's like, "Where can I get some of those?" And that's when you get that nice finish line. It's like, first you got to kill somebody. Then get thrown in the slammer, and then have like 20 cools to have someone shine them. So you get that. But that's a big part, because we learned that Riddick can't really deal with sunlight because his eyes are meant for like night vision, basically. So he wears goggles to protect it from the daylight, and that's a big deal for them throughout this film.
Yeah, and to add that to that, Anubis, it's also the fact that he says, how do I get eyes like that? You got to kill a few people. Got to kill a few people. And she's like, sure, I can do it. He's like, then you got to go to a slam where they tell you you'll never see daylight again, and you dig up a doctor. You pay him 20 menthol cools to do a surgical shine job on your eyeballs, so you can. And then that's when Jack says, so you can see him sneaking up on you in the dark. Exactly.
But the thing about Jax, this is an interesting thing, because something about that individual, something's off with that character too. Because why would you ask a hardened killer how you get eyes like that? Just ask a question like that, And you see how she I shouldn't say she, because we're supposed to know it's supposed to be a boy. The fact of the matter is, he keeps it. That's funny. It's a binary character here. The funny thing is, he starts to walk around him, asking who he is, talking to him like a lost dog almost, which is crazy.
But like, okay, going back to Kevin. I'll pass it to Walter, but I just want to add to Kevin. Pass it to Walter. But Kevin, like where we left off is, like you said, they're finding out it wasn't him, and this is where Johns goes to him with the ultimatums, like, look, I take the chains off, but you do what I say when I say it, and you no shivs, you can get nothing. He's like, what, to go back to another bullshit of himself? Fuck you. He's like, and then he's like, come on. He's like saying, well, you know what? I'm tired of chasing you. Like, I'm tired of chasing you. And he says, oh, you say you cut me loose? He's like, I'm saying you could have died in the crash. I was like, good. And then he says, my recommendation, ghost me, because I wouldn't want you to get the idea that I wouldn't go, I wouldn't get shit happy on your wannabe ass.
But then he says the most cold-blooded line I've ever heard. You know what I'm talking about. I'll let you say it. I figured you say it better.
No, yeah. He says he goes, and then he says, and he says, like, no, he says, what he says that he's like, okay, what do you
ghost me, motherfucker, because that's what I'm gonna do to you.
Yeah. He's like,
he says that. I was like, dude, I was in my seat when he said it. I was like, that's the most badass line I've ever heard someone character say, man. It's like, damn.
Well, he rebutted to his own.
I'll be right back. 1 second.
Yeah. He rebutted to his own question. He's like, says, do we have a deal? He's like, what would you do? He's like, ghost you, motherfucker. That's what I'll fucking do to you.
Yeah.
And he's like, but that's the best part. Like, I've seen Diesel pretty freaking intense in movies, but like that was one of the first few times I saw him like that intense. And then he lets him loose, and then he almost kills him. He almost kills Johns, but then Johns like, he looks like his eyes are gonna pop out of his fucking face, bro. And he's just all like, yeah, man, like fucking. But you can tell that at least Riddick has an understanding. It's like, yeah, you cut me loose, but don't get the idea that
if you try to do something to me, I'm gonna take you out. You know.
No, yeah, yeah, and I think honestly that Riddick plays everybody, and he played him.
Yeah.
Riddick played him like a fiddle, bro. Like he played him like a fiddle. And he says, "Look," he says, "Okay, they'll have a mutual understanding, but Riddick never guaranteed that he wouldn't try something, even if they got away. He's like, I'll still fucking kill you. I'm a murderer, bro. He's a murderer."
Yeah.
So you know, but I like that. I like that you brought that up. I didn't catch it at first. I was like, okay, now I forgot what it was. But okay, so now Walter, you take over where they're already intermingling with Riddick. They're in the coring room, and this is where we get a first more of a taste look of what happens to Imam's first son when he goes to the coring room.
Yes.
I love how JC's got me in chat having this in-depth discussion.
That's how it is. But we go back to the courtroom. But before we do that, they grab one of the power cells that's on the wreckage ship because they found a lifeboat. You know, it's been sitting up for 22 years. So they take that, and as you say, they start going back and using it to test. You know, run up a test run to see if this thing will even work. So as you say, we're in the courtroom and blah blah. And Iman, is it Iman?
Imam's one of his sons. One of his sons. I forgot his name.
Iman's son, you know, led by Jack, trying to, you know, follow him. And I'm just like, why is he still? I keep saying she, but I might as well just say she.
Keep in mind, Jack is now like trying to mimic Riddick.
Riddick so badly. And I'm just like, what is wrong with this individual?
I can do that. I can kill some people.
Hey lover, this is more than a crush.
But no, they get into the courtroom because, see, remember, they're looking for water too, not just a way off. And they did find water. So they're looking for him. I mean, his son goes inside to an opening of the courtroom, and Jack is hiding. Just following them. Johns, you know, calls him, say, "Hey, the party's come join the party. Come on, boy." And when we pulls that tarp down, he said, "Hey, you're missing the party. Come on." You know, damn, how do you do that?
Yeah.
So, but to get to the son, I'm just like, okay, he's but what happens when he took that tarp off, since there's 3 suns, it activates the momentum of these panels that generates, you know, power. So it starts to activate inside the courtroom where the boy is, and here's where shit starts to get real. You start to see like little fluttering of something in the shadows. We don't know what it is, but you know it looks like something. So it starts to release these doors that lets the sun in, and all of a sudden you see these little baby versions of these raptors, as they've been called in somewhere in I think in the book or something like that. They call these raptors. They're baby versions, but they're still dangerous, just like piranha. They start to try to attack the little boy, and it to me, you know, I'm sorry, but it seems like if he stayed in the light, but he doesn't know. He's a child. He doesn't really know. He hides in the dark, getting away from these things. But they follow him, and they pretty much eat him up. And everybody's the father starts asking, "Has anyone seen the little one? You know, has anyone that saw him? You know?" Yeah. And they shoot the lock because it was locked. And all of a sudden, you see these things, you know, flooding around, you know, and they go down in this hole. And that's where they was coming out of, you know. And Iman, you know, he leaves us. I feel for him. The remains of his lungus just falls into view, and it is oh my! I can't even express how I feel for him. But when it falls into view, he just like, my goodness, I lost my son. And this transition where the son blinds out, and you see him with his other 2 sons burying him. You know, they're giving a memorial for him. So it's that moment where you realize, okay, they are in a situation where it's like, okay, they're just like I say, they're pretty good because the Suns pretty much could kill these things or just do whatever. So, getting not too much ahead, Fry noticed that one of the core samples reads 22 years ago, and it's kind of like, okay. And John's asked, like, okay, is that something significant, Fry? He's like, he doesn't really know. So they go back into this room where there's a model of the planets or where they're at, and where the suns are interacting with one another. He starts spinning around. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like I know it's like a model, but it's got to be like some kind of time compass or.
It's called like an orrery. It's called.
Yeah,
an
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. There you go. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Walt.
But no, to add on to that though, when it gets to the 22nd year, it's in black. And
Eclipse.
An eclipse, and she said, eclipse, and she's going back and forth, and then Riddick says to her or asks her, it's like, hold up, I gotta do it like this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, I gotta do it like this. You're not afraid of the dark, are you?
Yeah.
So when he does, so now funny thing is right here, it's gonna be a major fuck up right here with if they just get the cells and get off this planet, they'd be done. This is where John is really shady. I mean, he was shady before, but he says to her, because she's telling him, is like, we need to get the 5 more cells, put on the ship, so they can activate it and everything, check it. He said, wait on the cells, wait on them. It's like, what do you mean, wait on why? Until it's so dark we can't see ourselves. It's like, we don't know when this is going to happen. So they can't get all excited. It's like, I'm like,
just get the fucking cells down here, Johns. What's the fucking discussion?
I'm at this moment. Look, I'm in this moment right here, headspace. I'm like, motherfucker, are you serious right now?
That was a fucking Riddick be like, howdy 5.
How the hell? Yes. How the hell are you saying shit like that, knowing full well that it could happen again real soon, and you saying, let's wait on, we don't know where. Get the motherfucking cells, man. So.
But would have no film. It would have ended there and then.
But that.
Yeah. He would have. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he would have. He would have dusted Johns and just leave everybody else there. He would have been like, yeah, fuck them. Like, I'm a survivor. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Like, I don't give a fuck about you. He could, but it's true.
But this is when she talks to Johns and saying, why should we wait on the cell? And he tells her that he knows how to fly a ship. He's a hijacker. That he's an escape artist. You say he's an escape artist. So he's telling her all these things, but she's telling him like, okay, you gave him his word. You gave him your word that you're gonna let him go, and it's like, yeah, I'm trying to make sure that he doesn't cut or kill any of you, or anything like that. As you say, you leave him high and dry, really. But as she tells her, she tells him, it's like, you're dancing on razor blades right here, And it's like, okay, it's like, all right, we're gonna follow your lead. Go ahead. But then as he walks out the ship, you see him start to do this like kind of dizzy spells, and we don't know why he's doing that. And we see Riddick with a shiv, pretty much cutting his hair, or whatever little bit it is,
with axle grease. With axle grease. Yeah.
I love that part right there. It was like he said, he says like, I thought I said no shivs. He's like, what? No, this is just a private grooming, personal grooming.
It's a personal grooming appliance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like, dude, it's like, come on, man. I mean, you even the blind could tell that you full of shit when you say that, but that's going to come in handy later on. But he gets Fry alone because he's kind of like, shouldn't we have some more cells right now for the ship, for this lifeboat? And he goes into the explanation of why, Johns is who he is, because Johns is not a cop. Big surprise. he's a ruthless bastard, He's a cutthroat. Yes, he's like you say, he's a merc. He's only there for a payday. He says creed is greed. That's why he won't kill him, And she really tells him, she figured like, oh, you just trying to mind fuck me right now. It's like, no, I mean, in a way I am, but I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you that he's not a cop. All he's doing is for money.
Yep.
That's pretty much it.
Mhm.
So knowing that,
He's like, well, let me add this, man.
okay,
He's like, I don't know. He's like, well, I know one thing, Carolyn. Once the dying starts, this little psycho fuck family of ours is gonna rip itself apart.
see,
And it's
see, that's the thing by Riddick. See, he psychologically knows how to say or think like other different people, because he knows that I can tell that you are not who you are. I know who I am. That's one thing I can say. Riddick, he's not somebody who beat around the bush about who he is. He knows he's not a good guy. He's a bad guy. That's given. But he knows that some other people in this group is like, no, y'all stay to your damn self. So he tells her
he's good at exposing other people of their own darkness.
Yeah.
Because like everyone, like we said earlier, every one of these people have some sort of secret or sort of hidden agenda. I mean, she almost killed everybody to begin with, and then Johns has his own agenda. So like he's just exposing some of their own darkness, and they don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, and then like I wanted to add to what Walter says even before he continues. This is a part where also it makes Fry think, because now what Johns told her earlier said that, look, I'm not going to let him I'm not going to give him a chance. I'm not going to give him the chance to take another ship. And he's not, but Johns, that's all he said. But now what Riddick was telling Caroline about Johns is that now he's kind of telling her, hey, look, me and Johns got history, but there's some things he's not telling you. And they got a deeper history, which I find out later, but we won't get to. I don't want to jump up too far, but they have a history, and he's like, and Riddick is like, now he's playing everybody. Now he's starting to play everyone and try to like not turn against them, but he's just trying to turn Johns against Fry. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I like about him. And then to the point, before I let Walter continue, I want to say this part where Riddick's about to leave the skiff where Fry is, and he says, "You know what? Ask yourself something. Why do you think Johns shakes like that?"
Mm-hmm.
And ask him why your co-pilot, your friend, had to die in such an agonizing death. Okay, go ahead, Walter. Take it over.
But see, that's the thing. Like when you knowing that, because like I say, first off, when you meet John, you feel like he's kind of legit, but then when all this comes on the table, it's like, okay.
Well, it's like what I said earlier. I didn't like him from the start. There was something about him that was icky, and now that you get to know, you find out he's basically just as deranged, if not more deranged than Riddick, where Riddick's in control. Riddick, even though he's murdered and people can consider him a villain, Johns is basically more unhinged, where Riddick's in control.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And here's the moment where we discover that he's taking out these little syringes or little, like, I guess, capsules or something of morphine, puts it in this little needle or whatever. I gotta say, this has got to be the most unusual way of taking a drug of some sort. He takes it, puts the needle and like kind of like on the outer end of the eye right there, and just like shoots it. I was just like, damn, dude. I'm like, that's the only way you can shoot yourself up, you know?
It's the only way that won't show him that he's an addict.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I hadn't even thought about that. That's a good point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because anybody who shoots up morphine or shoots up methamphetamine and stuff like that, they're gonna have tracks.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a lot. They're gonna have a lot of tracks, and and him, he doesn't want anybody to know his little addiction, because it could play against him, and the only one that really knows that is Riddick.
It's Riddick. But we find out why he's taking this morphine. I don't know if you guys ever saw the director's cut of this, but it shows where when
I didn't even know there was a director's cut.
yeah, that's it. Well, it's only like 7 or 8 more minutes of it, but
Yeah.
in this dialogue between him and Carolyn, he shows her like a piece of shiv that's in the back of his it's near his spine, and it's agonizing pain, or I should say it's so close that it can paralyze him. So he has to take that in order to not
Function.
Yeah. So it's like like I said, if you ever saw it, then you'll understand why he takes it. But the simple fact is, she finds out that he's a hype. He's a drug addict, and she sees that he's got a whole mess of it right there. And she tells him like, "No, it's a problem. No, it comes a problem when you let Owens die like that." And she says like, "You got enough here to kill a fucking mule team." I'm like, damn, I'm like, he really is that addictive to this shit, But I guess, as I said before, if you see that director's cut, you see that there's a sliver, a piece of shiv that Riddick, because he says we had a run in before, that's stuck in the back, on his lower back, and it's close to his spine. So knowing that he's doing that, she's telling him, it's like, all I'm saying is, you could have helped or did something, and you did nothing. And he gives it right back at her, because she's no different. She's just as bad. He says, to cover thy own ass, right, Carolyn? Basically, because she was going to kill the passengers. He was like, you are bad. Look, I might be a bad, but you just as fucked up as me, because you was willing to kill people no matter what. That dirt comes out right there and then. It's that back and forth that makes you realize like nobody is really in that scene. Neither one of those two are innocent. They got dirt on their hands.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the whole. That's where we go back to the point. But for what they call it, what Anubis keeps letting us know, that everybody's got skeletons in their closet. Everybody's got something needed to hide, or everybody has something to be, have something to be feeling guilty about, or they have their own little, shit. Like, come on, everybody at one point, bro, has had that moment of, "Nah, fuck you, I'm gonna think about me."
Yeah.
So, but no, yeah, that's a good elaboration. You know what? And I forgot about that, Walt. That you mentioned that he said something like out of a poet saying, "Oh, or watch thy own ass," or some shit like that.
Not like that, yeah.
But it was something like that. But it's no, that's the good part. But see, it's a good thing they didn't add that part, to what Kevin would reference, is that it's a good thing they didn't add that scene, because that would have make you be more sympathetic towards Johns, and you don't want that. Like, you don't want that, because you want Johns to be a piece of shit. You want Johns to be the lowest of the fucking low.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
but to be honest with you, I still didn't feel no real sympathy. I mean, yeah, he's got something in the back of that's hurt, but that doesn't give him no ill will or free ride to say do what he does.
What's up, Jake?
What's up, Jake?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so no, but like I said, but now I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna pass it back. Well, I'm gonna get some in, and then I'm gonna pass it back to Anubis. Mm-hmm. Now we get to that part where, Fry Johns, Fry finds out that Riddick is telling a part of the truth, and that Johns is, shooting up his morphine and shit. But I do want to say that now that I think about it, remember what Riddick said to Fry when he was captured and he was in chains. He said, "You got to go for the abdominal aorta, the third lumbar down to the spine." And now that I think about it, I think that's where Riddick had stabbed Johns.
Yeah.
But it didn't go all the way through, and the knife broke. So they can't remove it because he might go paralyzed, and they don't also remove it because if it's the abdominal aorta, he'll bleed to death. So I'm glad they didn't add that to the films. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you watch, but I mean, it's still an effective scene. But like I say, it's only if you're interested in that. But, yeah.
Yeah. But I'll just take it from there. So now they're finding out that Riddick says, "Look, man, they're looking at all the suns and looking. Hey, look, now the planet is starting to come up when there was no planet before. Now you see the planet that rising slowly. So now they're like, oh shit, we gotta move. So now they start, like just getting everything working like hell, getting all the cells out. And remember, those cells weigh 35 kilos each. So how much is 35 kilos, Kevin?
Probably the same size as me.
Oh, for that fuck, that's some fucking heavy ass fucking cells then.
Okay.
So, yeah, the cells are pretty heavy. So now they gotta haul
can
it.
carry me anytime.
Uh-huh.
I'll say.
No, but what do you call it? Is this Kaiju Ricky?
If you look at
Yeah, I'm glad Kevin reviewed Arcadian because I wasn't going to do it.
oh wow, I didn't even thought about that. That's true. Yeah.
No, but now they're hauling ass. They gotta make sure they gotta run the shit because if we're gonna do shit now because that Sandcat that Shaza got running is solar. So they don't want to walk all that fucking way from back and forth to that shit. So they gotta use the Sandcat. Oh, there we go. 70 pounds a piece. Okay. 70 pounds. Fuck. That's a lot of shit, man. But yeah, so they're getting everything. They make it. They take the cells and make it to the destination where that little village is or that little location is. I think it's a survey station. Yeah, the survey station. They make it there, but still the planet is just moving so fast, and then they're trying to wipe down the solar panel so they can keep moving, but it gets darker, and they say, even Riddick said, no, I'm not going to make it. No, now he starts taking off. When Riddick starts to take off his fucking goggles, that's when you're fucked. That's when you start getting like, okay, shit's gonna go down. Shit's really gonna go down. So now the eclipse is not full, but it pretty much already darkened the sky. So now we got the smaller alien beast monsters that are coming out. So they're coming out of those big old, whatever they like. Those huge anthills, whatever. They're coming out, and they're coming out in droves, man. That's why I put it on the intro. They're coming out like tons, thousands of them, and that's when you just hear Riddick and you see me says beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I was like
vampire bats.
Right,
Yep.
and then
That's a brilliant shot when you see them all just coming out.
Yeah.
But then you see the little ones, but then you see later on where you've got like where the what were the fossils and like the big like mountain bits that are sticking up, that with the holes and how they start to rip open and they slowly get teared apart, and from inside even larger creatures start to come out.
Yep. And then poor Shaz gets annihilated by the smaller ones because she tried to run, but I mean she got annihilated, dude. Like I didn't think that they could cut her. They were literally cutting her to pieces while they were flying through her.
Yeah.
So
they carried her away and she was in half.
Yeah, but they carried her off.
Again, it's another scene where they're both hitting the deck and these things are flying over them, and she gets too jumpy and gets up and runs and gets caught.
Yeah.
Riddick gets up, he's like,
yeah.
he's like just moving on.
Yeah.
He's like, next.
And can I just mention as well, I think that scene could have potentially inspired the scene in Kong Skull Island when they're on the boat and the knife wings pick up the guy who worked for the communications, and they flew off across the river and they chopped them up in half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I mean, hey, that's a good reference, man. I didn't think about that. No, but yeah. So she's done, and now that they're getting scared. They say we gotta go, and then right before they're gonna go enter what's left of the wreckage of the ship, Riddick turns around and finally fully takes off his goggles, and he can see in his own vision. Now you're hearing the rumbling where those hills are. You're hearing the rumbling, and now, right? It's so cool because it's dark, right? And they use the vision. They look from Riddick's point of view, from his point of view, and now the bigger ones are starting to come up. And I do like. I forgot to mention. I do love the sound the bigger ones make when they're flying or they're moving. And like it was really like it looked really cool because it's in like night vision, but it's his vision, and he's like you could tell he's probably getting a Woody just looking at it, but
Yeah.
it's like but
Because look,
he's like,
when Carolyn asked him, "What is it now, Riddick?" He said, "As I said, it ain't me. You gotta worry
yep,
about."
yep. So now they make it in. Now they make it into the ship, and then now I'll pass it back to Anubis.
Yeah, so darkness has fallen upon them, and the creatures are on the loose. Obviously, Shaza is gone, and they hide away in one of the old ship wreckages and realize that it's not going to keep them out forever. These things can pierce through. These things have sharp tails and all sorts of different weaponry. They can use claws to break into these things. So they continue to kind of cut their way into deeper parts of this old wreckage, which almost puts them in a box. It's almost like these creatures kind of work to get you to do stuff like that, so you become like victims in the long end. But they finally had to start having a talk about the plan that Fry had to get to the escape ship is still valid. They just got to get the cells to the ship. And so now it's like, okay, well, we're going to have to do it by foot. So they gather like torches and like this glowing kind of like cord looking thing they got through this little device that they're able to kickstart to use. It's almost like a glow stick type of thing. Somehow these things work against these creatures. I don't know exactly how, but these creatures are apparently way sensitive to light of any kind. But either way, Riddick, they're worried about how they're going to get the cells there. And Riddick's like, I'll take him. And he's literally dragging forward when this dude's a strong ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
So they start making their way through. So now what we have Riddick, Fry, Johns, Eamon, Paris, and Jack. So that's our remaining members here. And so they're making their way through. And at one point, as they're going, Paris gets like paranoid, like he's been on the fritz the entire time. Ends up like dropping a bottle, and Jack tries to go after it, which draws a creature because he's out of line of sight from it. I almost gave it away. And so Paris breaks from the group, which shuts down their power lighting for their glow sticks. He gets to a nice little point, which is actually in Sentry's intro, where it's dark as shit. He can't see anything, so he decides to light up, one of his bottles of alcohol, blowing it like he would like a fire breather. And as he does that, he's just surrounded by the raptors. And it doesn't end well for him at all. It's a bad mojo for him. So anyway, they get back, they light these other bottles of stuff for torches or whatever, and they're gathering back together. And it comes to a point where Riddick is exposing something now. He's like, well, they're still going to trail us because they smell blood, and it's from the chick. And so John's like, what? He's looking at Fry, and Fry's like, I'm not bleeding. He's like, no, the other chick. And we find out Jack is actually a young girl posing as a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And she's clearly having a menstruating period at this point, so that's the obvious. And so there's this kind of cool moment, because at first you could tell Fry was frustrated that Jack was lying, but then when she realizes that this young girl is going through this shit right now, she's more comforting soon after that. So it's a nice little moment where they could have easily said, bitch, what the fuck you doing? But, being the other female, she understands. So I like that moment with Jack and her. So then we get Riddick and John's kind of getting ahead of everybody, and they're talking and bullshitting. And John's is like, you know what, dude? We need to cut this dead weight. We need to come up with a deal here. And you and we can just kill these motherfuckers, take the cells, and be done with this. And of course, John's of all the fuck abuse, like you take out the chick. Like he doesn't want to take out the chick, which I thought was funny. But you know, he says, yeah, and of course,
Yeah.
Riddick, he's always open to like discussions. Like,
And it was,
go
can I just add, Matt? She goes out. He's like, okay, enough of this bullshit. You do the girl. I'll keep the rest off your back. And then that's when Riddick kind of gets a look like, he looks at him like, are you fucking serious? And then he doesn't say that, but it's in his mind. And he's like, and that's when he says, well,
he says the biggest thing. We need bigger bait.
No, he says, you know, he looks back at him. And he says, I think we can use a bigger piece of bait.
Yeah.
He's like who? And then go ahead, Anubis. Go ahead. Take it from there, man.
He says that there's like this stare down, and John starts to understand that, oh shit, I'm gonna have to deal with this guy now.
Yep.
And they get into a fight. Now, obviously, prior to this, as things are going along, Fry kind of catches wind that something's gonna happen. So she's like, let's hold back a little bit and let these give us some space.
Yeah.
And soon enough, Riddick and John start fighting and getting into it. So, of course, the light starts to go out a little bit, and Riddick makes these little quips like, "Be sure to stay in the light." he's just fucking with them the entire time. But then finally, Riddick like cuts John's back, and now these creatures smell blood pretty easily. So now he's like easy bait, and Riddick kind of like goes back into the shadows. He's able to see pretty well with his eyes, so he's not worried about that. And Johns ends up getting impaled by the tail from one of those things, and he's just sitting there. And probably, I think one of the other things about this movie, if I remember, is it was at a time when I was buying the Fangoria magazines, so they had like stills from this, and of course the one they had was the creature taking John's head right off. So that was kind of cool. You got to see
awesome.
that.
You know, can I just say one thing I loved about that whole sequence?
Yeah.
Was the darkness, but I love the neon like green light background, like the colors of the
flare light. Yeah.
I just thought it brought so much like uniqueness and ambience to that scene, and then when you see him get his head crunched, just awesome.
Check it out, guys. Check it out.
Initially, when John's got impaled, like you saw it through Riddick's eyes, because he's enjoying the moment. You know, there's my boy.
There you
see, right there, yeah, right there. And I want to add to what Anubis was saying on that when right after Riddick cut him, that's when Riddick got into the shadows, and he's like, how come you never took the chains off, Johns? And he's all like, you never used to take the chains off, Johns. And then he says, you're one brave fuck before, you're a big badass.
Yeah.
He's like, the chains, the gauge, badge, and there's like that. See, I love that just the way it comes from Vin Diesel's character and his voice, bro. He just makes it sound like so like badass, dude. Like it goes from being a sci-fi horror movie to a bit of a manly movie. You know, you call it the testosterone, or the testosterone comes in. Yeah, like and I like that part because when he says the chains, the gauge, badge, I was like, oh shit, dude. And then but I'll give it back to Anubis, man. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, so he ends up getting John's ousted from the group, and at first the other part of the group is like still moving along. They're like trying to get away. They don't know who the hell is going to win that fight. And eventually she bumps into Riddick, and he still got the cell. So now he's like, let's go. Everybody stay together, keep the girl in the middle because she's menstruating or whatever. And then we get to a point where what's his name? Iman's other child that's still alive gets attacked, and they are able to pull him away, and they got him, but he's bleeding pretty bad. Now they got a Gimp pretty much to deal with the kid to get them to another safe zone as they keep making their way to the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Then there comes a point. There's like this valley. It's like I think was it where the bones were? I can't remember if it was exactly where it was. I think it was.
I think it was before the bones. Did you already mention the part where Riddick takes out one of them?
Not yet.
Okay. Go ahead,
so
keep going.
they're kind of making their way there, but Riddick sees that there's a congregation of all these creatures. Like he's like, this is going to be tough, but this is the way through. This is how we're going to get through this shit. But I think it's at this point too where finally a creature gets Iman's last son and pulls him up this cliff, and then that's adios amigos. And of course, this is kind of a big moment for Iman because he's a very religious man. He kind of believes that things happen for a purpose, but Riddick is always telling him like, yeah, I don't believe in that shit, and that kind of makes you think that Iron's probably still kind of challenging his own belief system. He just lost all his kids on his planet, so.
And by the way, that's the only time I jumped during the film.
Yeah.
Like I did not expect the death for the thing to come from above to take him up, so very unexpected.
Did you see that when the I'm gonna call them shadow raptors. So call them shadow raptors. It was a jumpy moment. The tail comes down so fast, but if you see the tail, it wraps around his neck and it goes straight and point and stabs his eyes.
Yeah.
If you look at it, so he dies pretty quick, pretty fast. So at least not so brutally he's eaten alive. But
yeah,
I mean, just two things going into your eyeballs, bro, you're dead. But I just wanted to add that. Okay, go ahead, Anubis.
So yeah, now they've lost the last kid, so now it's just the four of them, and they're gonna make their way through. And he's kind of waiting for this opportune moment to kind of get through. But as he starts to make his way through, Jack is attacked, and actually, I think like a piece of bone from one of the creatures, the old creatures that died, falls on top of him. So you got this shadow raptor banging its head on the bone, trying to get to Jack. So Riddick is forced to come back. And that's when he gets to that scene that Sentry likes so much. He starts chopping the guts and cutting it down, and he gets up to it and he just like twists the neck and snaps it. And so that's the end of that one. But
he also says you don't
know who you
did not know he was fucking with. Did not know he was fucking with.
That's a great line, actually.
Yeah, and then that's why I love that part. I just wanted to elaborate on that scene because that shows pretty much how the Shadow Raptor really looks, and I mean it's not too basic. I do like the head, and I do like the teeth are actually angled. They're actually like angled like blades, and their tails, And I'm glad they made them I'm glad they made them only like quadrupedal or like two legs.
Yeah.
Two legs, just two legs and a tail.
Legs. That's the thing. I don't know if they're legs or arms or whatever, but yeah.
It's actually their arms. They're kind of like almost like little dragons in some ways.
Okay, and they fly. So that's another thing. They fly. So I like the way that.
I do like how Riddick kind of like learned a lot from them too, because there is that scene later on where he knows the line of sight's on the outside, like a hammerhead shark, as Kevin pointed out too. So he gets in the middle where he can't see him, and he's like following its movements as it's trying to see him and locate him.
I don't know if you've noticed, I've sent you some pictures of the creatures. I don't know if you want to bring them up.
I don't think. I don't think I can from here.
To me,
I sent them to both.
Okay, let me see.
Anubis.
For those that haven't seen Pitch Black,
let either Walter or Kevin continue. I'll find the pictures.
Yeah, so it's basically just to give them an idea what these creatures look like for those that may have not seen Pitch Black. Okay. So does Walter want to continue, or do you?
Let me just mention to go on what we did. What I forgot, I think, what was left out a little bit was the part where I think Anubis mentioned it, but it was a part where Imam and Riddick have a conversation about God, and this is what leads into a storyline that leads into the Chronicles of Riddick, which is the next film. And it's the part that he was abandoned as a baby, he was tried to be killed by someone, but I think in this movie reference it said that he was thrown away as a baby with the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck. So, and he says, you think everything I've gone through and not believe in God? You think the whore that spit me out, left me there, strangling myself on my own umbilical cord and not believe in God? He says, I absolutely believe in God. and I absolutely hate him.
Yeah.
And that's the part where, well, he doesn't. He says it more derogatory, but I didn't want to say it to everybody.
That was
Yeah. And he's like, and then that's what Imam still tries to do. He says he is with us nonetheless. And he's like, this is where really, because like 2 of your boys are already dead. How much faith do you have left, Father? How much faith do you have left?
Yeah.
And this is the part where I love this fucking movie so much, man. Like everything they add to it is something that I really enjoy.
Well, it gives
Okay,
it more.
Century, I added the first one in there, but we're going to do it like I'm going to have to share each one. So if you just want to pop the first
Okay,
one up,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And then I should be able to just kind of go through them.
Yeah, like, oh yeah.
That's what they look on the face, and you can see on the outsides, that's what their eyes are.
And I don't know if you guys know, this design was designed by Patrick Papadopoulos. You know, if you know who that is.
Yeah, he did Underworld.
Yeah, yes, exactly. He also did he did Independence Day, and he did
I dig that statue, man. That's cool as shit.
Yeah. I think that's from the actual production of the movie, that statue.
Yeah, see, that's a very unique looking raptor or creature. But
he did Godzilla '98 too. Oh wow.
Yeah, he did.
We don't want to talk about that one though, right?
Yeah.
No, please, that's not.
How dare you? How dare you, Patrick Tatopoulos, doing that?
No, he's got to work too.
I know. I like Zilla. I like Zilla's design. He's not Godzilla. I like Zilla's design. I like it. Yeah. Okay, is that it?
Go on in the city.
Is that it?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So like I was gonna say,
didn't like that comment.
Which one? Oh, okay.
98.
Yeah. No, but okay. But I'll get back to Kevin. But I wanted, like I said, I did like the fact that they mentioned part of what goes into the next film, which is the fact that having babies with being strangled with their umbilical cords. Mm-hmm. So I like how that goes into the next movie. But yeah, I just wanted to add that, and then little things about like the battles, and poor Imam with he's not giving up, which is a good thing. And then but now
you would think, going through all what he went through, that he would question his faith, but the fact that he's still faithful, and the
that's
great
part
thing
of
I
a
love
testament to him and his character, though, because even in Chronicles, he still is a man of faith. It's kind of interesting that he, even through all that, he was still sticking by it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, now I'll give it to Kevin, and then we'll pass it to Walt. So, Kevin, we're at the part where they already killed one of them. And then they're still trying to get everything to move. So,
have they reached the cave yet?
That's where they're heading. That's where they're heading in the cave.
Basically, after that happens, and they have that very deep conversation, which may I point out, that's another great thing I love about this film, is it's not just a B-movie kind of scary film or monster creature feature, where it's like a basic film where they go right and bang, right, we have to get a plot where we get a monster, get the heroes to survive, end film. They bring depth into the movie because of the conversations and the characters.
Yeah.
So it really adds to the movie. So they basically, they're trying to escape these creatures, and they find like an opening, and they go into this cave area. And when they're in there, they find, they think they're completely trapped.
One quick thing, Kev. While they're on their way to the cave, they start getting shit dropped on them. Like it's like blood, and it's like blue, and but it's like almost like they think it's like rain, and then it's like, don't look up. And Fry's like looking up, and they're literally killing each other in the air, like just going eating each other and whatnot. It's just like dropping goo all over them and shit.
Yeah, which answered your question to JC earlier. That's how they can survive, because of basic cannibalism. They eat each other. Survival of the fittest, which in the real animal kingdom, that actually happens. So anyway, they get to this cave, and as they're in the thing, it's doomed. There's no way out. They're basically at the end of the line.
and then it starts. And then it starts. Yep.
Yeah, and then suddenly something drops, and when they look around, it's like these glowworms.
Yeah.
And they're like, suddenly, yes, we've got light, but then obviously because of the situation, obviously Riddick went away. He's abandoned them at this point to go back to the ship.
Yeah, he's taking these cells
Yeah,
because he's
so
running.
And it's raining. And it's raining. And it starts
Yeah.
raining.
It's raining.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's like, "Fuck you guys," you know. He kind of like, but you can see he's still torn in his head whether to do it or not. But he thinks like, right, they've got this reputation of me being this villain. I'll be the villain and I'll abandon them. So they get this tub, like the glass container, and she fills it with the worms. She then decides to go after Riddick because she knows he's going to jet off, and she's like, I'm not going to allow him to do this. And there's this amazing moment when he's set up the ship, it's ready to fly, and she comes flying round the corner, and they have this deep kind of clash and conversations. And she's like, I'm not abandoning them. I cannot abandon them.
Oh, Kevin, can I add something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, check it out. Strong survival instinct. I admire that in the woman.
Dude, yeah, see, that's a funny thing. I don't think he was even torn at that point. Like, that's the funny thing about Riddick. Like, he's kind of more of like an opportunist, and if he's got the cells, he doesn't want to go to prison. Now, it's not that he hasn't tried to help. Well, it's like a group effort, but now that he's free, he's like, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here. And then she knows better. She knows better. And she chases him down to confront him about it. Then, Kevin, you can keep going.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead.
So they have this conversation, and he's like, kind of saying, let's you and me just leave.
Yep.
Let's just go. Let's just get the fuck out of here.
But
the thing is, but when this thing starts to happen, you look at her face, and you can see there's a moment where she's thinking, yes, let's just get out. But because she's feeling tremendous guilt, she manages to like persuade Riddick to go back for them. She's like, I will not leave them behind, and they have kind of this clash line on the floor. I thought they were going to just bang right there and then, but it didn't. The way things were going.
He was definitely intrigued with her. He did like her.
Mm-hmm.
I think in some ways he kind of liked him.
Did you see how this part was not woke?
Yes.
And she didn't. She knew, but she was so like dead set on saving as saving the survivors as she could. She went at him and she attacked him, and you saw the way he manhandled her, like real quick. I'm glad they didn't make it woke where they made it like even.
Well, the thing is too, it shows her own character arc, because eventually Riddick gets his character arc. Once
I think they both do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do. But hers comes like at that moment. She's like, I'm not leaving them behind. And that's what she says. He's asking her, will you die for them? And she's like, yes. And that's something she didn't say at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And don't forget, this was in 2000, the early time. So this was before wokeness was a thing. And there's nothing woke about this film. Like, you've got the 3 pilgrimage sons, and each one that didn't shy away from killing any of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's such a great film. It's more the dialogue and the one-liners that you remember most. Like, you've got films that have great action sequences, but you don't remember the dialogue. Like, that's one of the arguments with, like, say, some of the James Cameron films, which it's not. You don't think of the dialogue; you think of the scenery. Where with it, it's the full package.
No, and keep going from there. When they finally come to a compromise, take it from there.
Well, I don't know if Walter wants to.
Yeah, Walter. Yeah, we'll pass it to Walter.
Okay. Well, as you say, they come to a compromise. Finally, they go back to get Jack and Iman, and they head back to the ship, but they're interrupted by a couple of the raptors,
Shadow
And
Raptors.
Shadow. So I'm sorry. Thank you.
No,
Shadow.
I just joking.
How funny is that scene though when they finally open the cave thing by moving the rock and Riddick peeks in and Jack's like, never a doubt you come back.
Yeah.
I'm like, you
Yeah,
don't even
right?
know how
You know,
close you are.
You would have not
enthusiasm.
know. I said, girl, you had
Yeah.
no idea.
You had no idea.
Yeah.
You don't know who this person is.
And Riddick's just like smile like, yeah, I was coming back all the time, man.
But you
Brushes
could
it
tell.
off.
But you could tell that even Riddick was tired of being on that fucking planet. He's like, I'm sick of this
Oh
place,
yeah,
dude.
dude.
Oh,
Hell
Like
yeah.
even as badass as he is, dude, he cannot take at least 2 or 3 of them.
Mhm.
Like he was like, okay, well we'll go on.
Well, I mean, as you say, he can't take. He wants to get off this damn planet as much as anyone else. So when they're heading back to the ship, you know, they get Jackson them in there, you know, and Mon in there. He is interrupted by one of the Shadow Raptors, and he sees one of them, but he runs up right in front of it, and he does this. You know, yeah, he does because he can't.
Follows the movement.
That's their
Yeah.
blind spot, you know.
Yeah.
So he figures like, okay, I'm out of here. Here comes one come right behind him, and this is a great juxtaposition shot where you see the because that's one thing I don't know if y'all said. We see the point of view of the Raptors. See, they see in a certain sonar. So when we see one looking at the other, looking at Riddick, I'm like saying, oh shit, what's about to go down here, you know? And we don't know if Riddick's gonna survive or if they're gonna kill him, you know, we don't know. So, and that's another thing. Fry is near the ship too, and Amon tells her, it's like, Carolyn, let's go. You know, he even knows like he might be dead. You know, let's just go. But she decides to go back for him. And he finds him, and he's got his ass kicked. You know, he took a couple of them out. You know, because you see him bleeding. You know, he got blue blood on him and everything. He's pretty much done for. So she's telling him, "Come on, you know, let's go to the ship and everything." And in this moment where she says to him, "I said I would die for them, not you."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This came as a surprise to me because I didn't see this coming. But maybe it was just something to let you realize, like, hey, you don't know who's gonna die. You hear some kind of kind of sound, you know, and they look at both one another, you know, and you see some blood dripping on the ground. And all of a sudden she gets yanked, and she gets yanked by one of the Shadow Rappers, and she disappears into the darkness. She's
I
gone.
love that moment because when that happens, you almost are led to believe that he might have stabbed her, like to just take back the ship, because
Right.
he is the villain. He is the guy. He's a murderer. And of course, she says, like, I won't die for you. But maybe that kind of impression gives you, like, did he just stab her? Like, did, like,
Well,
get
yeah,
her
that's
out
what
of
I
the-
thought when I first see that scene. I
But
thought,
then
yeah,
when she gets pulled away, is like that's when Riddick's redemption arc happens, because he is in disbelief that this chick gave her life to save him, and he's like, "Not for me, not for me."
Yeah.
Mhm.
That kind of moved me too. I was like, oh shit, because I didn't think it was him. I mean, they made it look like it could have been him, but I was like, seriously, man, I thought it was him.
Yeah, I did too.
Like
Yeah,
I
it was
thought
so open ended because you really don't know what the hell's going on. It's like they just stop and they're staring at each other, and either one of them could have been the one hurt. You know, you just didn't know who it was.
yeah.
I thought he had stabbed her.
Yeah, that's what I thought too initially.
Yeah, and then when he said not for me, and it's like, oh shit, like he does have a semblance of honor. Like he does have like even though it's a very small code, it's still a code, you know, and he doesn't.
I like it too because, you know, his character isn't the kind of guy that's going to cry,
Mhm.
but in that moment his voice kind of shakes, so it's like Fry kind of like gave him back a sense of humanity, and he felt that, like, wow, somebody actually gave a shit about me that knows my history, and she didn't care. She gave her life for it. Like that's such a cool moment. I really love that moment in the film.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
remember when we go back to the very beginning of the film, when he's in cryo, you know, he says most of your brain shuts down in cryo.
Cryo.
It's all but the animal side,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why he's still awake, because it shows that he is more animalistic than human in a sense.
Mhm.
But in that moment, you realize, like, yes, she in a way redeems him and giving him some kind of humanity back. Because, as we say, he mentioned to Amon that, you know, I truly hate God. You know, I know who he is, but I hate him, you know, because of the things he's gone through. But I feel like that helps him out.
Yeah, then he go. Yeah, then you know, even the part where he says, like, even she told him, like, come on, Riddick, there's got to be a part of you that wants to rejoin the human race.
Yeah.
And that's when he says, honestly, I wouldn't know how. So, but it's like, so there, she gets taken off. We're all like, shit. I was like, oh fuck. I was like, that sucks, because I wouldn't actually have minded him, but
yeah, I mean,
but
that's the thing. That's why I say you don't know who's going to, because that through this film, you don't know who's going to be taken out first, next, or last, and that's the thing. And like I say, when she gets taken, I was like, damn. I mean, she got taken, you know. But I was like, if he got taken,
you thought they were like this close to the happy ending, you know.
In a way,
yeah. And then from here, I just want to put before we go. So now he goes back to the ship, and they make it like really quick. Like they didn't want to like drag it, because they didn't want to make it too dramatic, or they want to make it too dull. So they start moving it real quick, and that's just something I want to play real fast, just leading in towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say goodnight.
So yeah, that's why I wanted to play that part, because
I feel that moment. You know, I mean, was it necessary? Not really. But to me, I feel is a justification, because he's seen a lot. He can't stand these creatures. And he said, I'm going to get a little payback, you know, from a few. And when he charged that engine up, that afterburn just like fries some of them shadow rappers. I'm like, dude, I'm like, that was so badass.
It wasn't like a soft lift off. He's like, yeah, we're going to say goodnight now. He just like full throttle and just annihilates them behind it.
He takes it out. His frustration on everything like that, because they were already starting to bunch up, and if they would have let too many, they would have got overwhelmed. But
yeah,
it was because the Shadow Raptors are strong too. So and like they just that's the part. It's a somber, shocking towards the end finale, but then once they get to that part where they're already taken off on the skiff, he totes a bunch of the Shadow Raptors behind them, and then they're going off. Now they're back in orbit, and now he says, "Okay." So that's when Imam says, "Well, so I have so much prayer to work on, and so much prayer to work to catch up on." And then that's when Imam tells, or I think it's Jack, says, "I know where I would start." She says, "I know where I would start," and she stares and points right at Riddick, and then she goes to sit with him. He says, "Okay, well, it's just us three, so."
Gonna be a lot of questions.
New Mecca. We run into something like, well, you go to New Mecca. We're gonna actually go to New Mecca, and he says, well, don't say anything. Like, just tell him that Riddick died on that planet. Say I died on that planet somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's where they go into the universal sunset and everything. And yeah, man, I like that part because it was short and sweet. It wasn't like an extended ending, and that's what I liked about it. And I actually did get into all the characters. It was just kind of hard to get into the kids because you didn't really know anything about them. They didn't show them that much. So they're more like it's like Kevin was saying.
Body count.
Yeah, or they were more for they were more like trying to get you to sympathize more as an audience, trying to get them sympathize. But how brutal survival could be when you're on an alien planet where there's a species that you don't even know if it's native or not, and
the
and
beauty
they
thing about this though, it starts off as just basically a sci-fi creature feature film, but then it's got so much depth than just your basic creature feature films or space films, a bit like Alien. But then who would have thought after the success of Pitch Black that it would spawn an entire franchise?
yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they haven't really went back to the planet with the creatures, I don't think, have they?
No.
Since, which you would think they would go back eventually.
Yeah. Well, I
Well,
mean,
they kind of played with it with the third film. That's probably the only thing that I kind of disliked about the third film is that the creature was a little bit too similar in terms of like makeup. But I like the fact that they did bring Riddick back down from like almost like this hero cult status that Chronicles did to back to like, Survivor and grittier, outthinking his opponents, and killing when he needs to, etc. Like he's just more of a back to the basics Riddick that I liked from this first film.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, and this movie it grabbed me just like Kevin was saying. It was what do you call them? I read on it yesterday. They called it like one of those films that did good, but it did better than expected.
Yeah, well, it was on a $23 million budget, but it only made $53 million, so it basically broke even.
Yeah.
But again, it does have like a cult status, though. I think it is one of those films that people do still like a lot.
Yeah, just like Crow and some other films that kind of do that.
I mean,
obviously, the Fast and the Furious franchise really catapulted Diesel after this, but
I prefer
for me,
this.
I've always liked this character
Yeah.
a lot more than that one.
Yeah, I agree. I prefer. For me, this is his definitive character.
Yeah, let's just say that's for another live stream if we ever do that, because I mean, Fast and Furious is something.
Oh, dude! Oh, there we go. Yes, thank you, Gojira. Yeah, sleeper hit. Yeah,
yes, that's very.
No, yeah, and no, yeah, of course, yeah. We'll do Fast and Furious, but we're just doing the first. We're just doing up to. I'm just doing one, and probably just one, bro. That's the only one I'm gonna be doing.
I would say just do one because after, as you say, after a certain number, it's like, okay, this is getting way too ludicrous, or even for me. I love good stuff, but I mean, that's.
I think
I like it really up until about 6. I think I'm done after 6. 6 is good enough.
I stopped watching after Paul Walker died. The last one where they featured him, and that was it. Done.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. But I mean, we'll get to that one. But like this film, man, we'll get to the Fast and Furious. But this one is, like I said, one of my favorite top 10. It's sci-fi horror. It's really what another inspiration for me when I started the channel. Is like I always say sci-fi horror. I don't know that much of basic horror, but I'm more of sci-fi horror like this, and it's a movie I enjoy, man. And the cast was great. It was low budget. The CGI was still kind of iffy, but it was still they used practical effects. The wardrobe was good. It was gritty. You could tell 23 million is not a lot. 23 million budget is not a lot, but it was for how much they had for the budget. They made it a great film, a cult classic.
An amazing script.
Exactly, the script, like this movie, man. A movie like this, like if they made a movie like this now, dude, like it would be like hit after hit after hit. But they don't make movies like that anymore. So that's why I really enjoyed this film, man.
And the sad thing about that is it'd probably be too woke anyway. Considering it would be so, we got to ingrain these kind of thoughts and process. Oh my God, man!
It makes me wonder how the fourth film's gonna go, because the fourth installment was announced in February 2023. Vin Diesel will again appear in the film with David Twatty has written the script and will direct the film. In the fourth film, apparently, it's going to be called Riddick Furia. Riddick Furia.
Yeah, he goes back. He goes back to his homeworld. Yeah.
Yeah, in the talk, there's even talk of a spin-off television show.
Well, that's going to get axed. They're going to come out of the reboot, and the character's name is going to be Rachel Riddick. That's what they're going to do.
Oh man,
They're just gonna sex swap.
fuck that shit. No, because see, I mean, this is not the only one. We're gonna do the Chronicles of Riddick. We're gonna do all of them. But it's like I did like, believe it or not, I did like part 2. I did like the Chronicles.
No, I like
Chronicles.
part 2.
Yeah, it's up my alley, but I prefer more gritty. But this
And that's
like
the thing. It's good, but it's like different than the other two. That's really what it comes down to.
yeah. I mean, but that's why I agree with Anubis when they got to the third, when they just went to the self-titled Riddick. They went back to his gritty, survivor, lifestyle, which he's a fugitive, so he's always running.
Well,
I like the connection with Father
potential.
John. I love that concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The potential television show is going to be called Merc City, that will follow the Mercs and bounty hunters of the Riddick franchise. That'd
be pretty cool if they get some good actors in it.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Well, that's in development, but I don't know if it'll happen because it's been in develop. It's been on and off in development since 2015.
Yeah,
I think they would want to. I think they want to see how the last Riddick, the latest movie of Riddick does.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going back to space now. He's going back to his home world, so it's not gonna be where it's gonna be gritty again, and we're like back to self-titled Riddick, which was part 3. So I like this style of survivor tactic, type of.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, give me a second of movies. So. But yeah, man. But it's a great film. It's a great film, and we'll just get last takes. Nubis, last take on the film. Last thoughts.
Great film. That's all I can say. Like, it's still fun. It is, as you said earlier, it's a great sci-fi film. It's like a legitimate sci-fi film. Everything about it is really fun. The fact that it had such a small budget for its time, for considering what kind of film it is, and it still was that much fun. And really the best thing really to come out of it is, of course, the character of Richard Rickett. Like, that's one of the best things about it. Like, he's such an interesting character because he is an anti-hero kind of guy that's got this dark past, and yet he can be very violent, but yet he does have a semblance of a heart depending on where he puts it. And we see that throughout all the films. Like, it's something that carries over. And I mean, I do wish they were more consistent with this franchise than the Fast and the Furious, because I would much see more of these films than, say, the Fast and Furious stuff. But I know that people are only gravitating to wherever the popularity is, and Cars is far more interesting than sci-fi sometimes. So at least for those people, not me.
Hey, remember, everybody who's watching, it's the Nubis. Everybody has different takes, man. Don't get anybody who's watching your panties. Don't get your panties in a bunch. No, okay.
And
so
remember, you're not going to win the argument with me because winning is winning.
There you go.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
You can win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. I don't care about you. You can have your own takes. I'm just giving you a hard time out there.
No, but
in case you get mad at me.
That's all good. I never get mad, man. I'm like I'm happy-go-lucky, man. You always see me smiling.
You guys don't get mad. I'm just talking about those fruitcakes.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay, Kevin, man.
I'm sure Gojira is like losing his shit right now. He's probably stomping. God damn, Anubis did it again. It's PC bullshit.
Oh,
right.
God.
Oh no! Don't go back to the. I'm DJ Nubis. I'm a PC gamer. Yeah. Okay, Kevin, what's your last thoughts on the film?
Oh my God, Jake says no comment.
Well, for me personally, what could have been just what you could have seen is a generic cash grab, kind of quick make a book creature feature sci-fi film, was a very in-depth, well written, well scripted, just fun action flick that spawned a character who is an anti-hero who we all can thoroughly enjoy and like, and is continued to gain popularity, because if you look at the sales of DVDs and Blu-rays, that is what spurred on the creation of Chronicles of Riddick,
Yep.
because it actually just did so well. And I believe that's another reason why a lot of franchise that may not succeed in the box office, they get a second shot, and it's because it's everything else that comes after it. And, you know, thanks to that happening, we've now gained a great character that's continued to grow in popularity. And, you know, the franchise, once again, with the 4 films going to be out in the forefront. And it's going to be interesting to see what the new generation of upcoming, what they call it, Generation fucking Z or whatever you call it. Be interesting to see how many complaints they have for Riddick, because I just hope they don't walk the fuck out of him, and I just hope they doesn't.
Sorry, Kevin.
I just hope that they don't make him walk. I hope they don't soften him. I hope that he continues to grow and stays the character that we've all grew to love.
Yeah.
But yes, a great film. Really enjoy it, and I just love everything. I like the cinematography. I like the script. I like the scenes with the light and dark element. It's just great.
Okay, Anubis rating, movie rating.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it has to be a 10 out of 10 because I love this film. But it's not something I watch a whole lot often. Like if I had to rate against other 10 out of 10s, it'd be much lower on the list. But
yeah,
I can't really rate it any lower because I really love this film. It's a great opening movie to a franchise, and so it's got to be a 10 out of 10 still. Like I have no problem with it at all.
Cool, Kevin.
I'll go a little bit lower because even though I enjoy it, it's great. Like you see, because of the budget restraint and because of the issues that they have, like the cost of the film, it does look a little bit dated now. I will say that, but I still thoroughly enjoy it. So I'm going to give it 8 out of 10.
Nice. Okay, now
still a high rating.
Yeah. Okay, now Jedi. Last thoughts and how you rate the film.
Well, I mean, Anubis and Kevin pretty much said it all, but I will say that this film, it's one of those treasure troves that needs to be looked at more often because it, like you say, it was better than what I expected it to be. And interesting thing about this film, it came out about the same time as another film came out that year, and it was sci-fi and everything. It wasn't horror; it was just sci-fi. And it was Mission to Mars. And I thought that would be the film that I would think, okay, I'm going to like this a little bit more than Pitch Black. Turns out that didn't work out that way. And when I went to go see Mission to Mars, I'm like, okay, I'm when this shit gonna get ended, So when that's with see Pitch Black, it's like, okay, now we're having a roller coaster ride here, and that's what this movie is. It's a roller coaster ride of good characters, good story. And it doesn't leave you, like slacking. It really gives you something fulfilled from that. I think you start to finish, it's great. And like I say, I mean, it's one of those, like I say, lightning in the bottle, thankfully.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
To top it off, the rating I'll give it, I'll say a little higher than Kevin's, but a little lower than Anubis. It's going to be a 9.
Nice. Oh yeah, man. I mean, I got all your guys' last thoughts on the film they're all relevant. It's pretty much what I would say. I mean, I love this film when I first saw it. I mean, obviously, I am the sci-fi century and I love sci-fi. That's pretty much all I talk about. But I'm switching it up. Don't worry. I'm switching it up. But yeah, I mean, I give it a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Vin Diesel was great. Rada was great. Keith David always great. Cole Hauser. Love to hate the motherfucker. Love to hate every person he is, man. And but yeah, absolutely great film. Hardcore sci-fi, what I love. And yeah, man, I mean, I want to thank you guys always, my brothers, for joining me on the Sci-Fi Society podcast, man. Everyone who was watching, thank you. The comments, Gojira, Jake Hall, JC, Brian Sanchez, Little Loki, everyone who watches our live streams and podcasts. We are grateful. I am grateful. And always remember what we got coming up. I'll start with Anubis and then Kevin and then Walter. What do you guys got coming up?
So obviously I'm slowing down a little bit with some of my content because we are preparing to move in the next couple of months. So, I mean, I'll still get some stuff out there, obviously, but some stuff that's coming out right away is next Wednesday. I am doing a new Ghouls of Midnight with Mr. Tony the Dead for 2020 film called Tin Can. Then on October 10th, Mr. Lambert and I, this guy over here, are going to be another cinematic synergy that they're doing. We're rewatching basically for ourselves the movie The Sadness. We're going to be reviewing that, and then hopefully, I have a list so far compiled with a couple of the guys here for Halloween night to do a live stream review of Lake Mungo from 2008. So if you guys are interested in listening to what we have to say about that, with the review, stop on by, and that should be a lot of fun. Trying to get a nice, healthy panel of people involved to go on. I don't know, Century and Walter, you guys haven't seen that, have you?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, so
But I'll
that's gonna
check
be
it out.
fun. I'm trying to get more people that haven't seen it, so it'd be a lot more fun. But certainly, if you've seen it before, and some of the other guys that are going to be involved probably already seen it, but that's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm hoping that comes through with everybody that can be a part of that.
I'll give it a watch, man. I'll jump on that one.
It's on Tubi, so anybody that wants to watch it, it's on
Yeah.
Tubi, right?
Yeah, I'm not doing anything on.
Check
I'm
it
not
out,
doing
Jake.
anything on Halloween.
Check it out.
Yep. Okay, Kevin, what you got?
Well, as you know, I work very, very hard and I am fucking tired.
Yeah.
I need a vacation.
Obvious.
Yep.
So because I need a vacation, what better place to go than to Romania? Because as you know, I am a vampire fan. I'm a big fan of the gothic horror movies and like Bram Stoker's Dracula. So I will be going to Romania on Monday for 5 days. I will be visiting Bran Castle. And I'll be bringing a blog to the entertainment headquarters all about my time in Romania. But once I'm back, we're going to enter Taste the Blood month on the entertainment headquarters, which of course I'm dedicating the entire channel to a month of horror content. And coming on obviously October the 10th, I've got The Sadness with Cinematic Synergy with Mr. DJ Anubis. Then the next day on the 11th, we have Taste the Blood Part 1, which is where we'll be talking about Nosferatu. We'll be talking about Shadow of the Vampire, and we'll be talking about Salem's Lot, the 1979. After that, we go to, I believe, October the 18th, which is the Subspecies discussion, which is an amazing vampire franchise. If no one's checked it out, get on Tubi. All of the films are there, I think, except the fourth one. But please check that out. And then on October the 25th, we have the Retro Classic Movie Show, which I'll be doing The Lost Boys, another amazing classic. And then finally, to top the month off, before we're heading to Halloween, we'll have Taste the Blood Part 2, where I'll be reviewing a few more horror films. John Carpenter's Vampires, Queen of the Damned, 30 Days of Night, and I forgot what the last one. There was a fourth film that I want to review. I cannot remember, but just keep your eye out for the entertainment headquarters. But as you can see, I've got a busy month ahead with Taste the Blood.
Yeah.
Maybe I
Cool.
can get Kevin and I to squeeze in a review of Near Dark, since he's all about the vampires.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh yeah. Okay, Walter, what you got?
Surprisingly, I do have some things coming up. I've been spin doctoring some stuff since I've been hard at work with stuff and everything. But I have some ideas, and it's funny. It's something that's going to be regurgitating, dealing with the 80s, because lately I've been having this 80s buzz for some reason, and I'm going to be discussing certain things, talking about the 80s. You know, it's going to be in certain stages, but It's going to be strictly 80s, you know, commentary and kind of how the 80s were something that kind of like I'm pretty sure like Anubis, since we're how can I say very distinguished gentlemen here, we were molded by this decade and how this decade really shaped us in some way.
You mean three gentlemen and a baby, right?
Um, me partially, it could be, but let me say
You
The
Jedi.
baby. The baby.
No, Jedi, Anubis, and Kevin, and a little baby. There you go.
yeah,
Oh, you're the little baby. You're the little baby.
Oh hell no!
but that's what I got on
Yeah.
the back burner. But it's coming up, and like I said, some things are dying down like now. So when that comes out, you'll see it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's basically 80s run because 80s, no matter how you want to put it, it's crazy. I mean, the 90s and 2000s, everything. 80s for some reason was the pinnacle of I feel my life. I don't know how Anubis feels about that, but I feel like it was the thing that helped me become who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Okay, that's good, guys. Now, I'm gonna have some fucking breathing room for October. No more freaking appointments for a while. Just physical therapy that I'm gonna finish. I'm done with that shit. And then Event Horizon, Sci-Fi Society podcast in probably I'm saying either mid to late because my mom's gonna have surgery on the 4th of October, so I got to take care of her depending on I think 2 weeks. So it probably will be towards the end of October, towards Halloween. And who knows? I might squeeze in something else. I might squeeze in, maybe Conan the Barbarian, depending on how my mom. I'll try to accommodate you. I'll try to accommodate you, DJ Lewis. I'll try to accommodate you. But what do you call it? Just because I love you,
Contemplate this on the tree of woe.
Crucify him. So yeah. So we might. So yeah. What is the riddle of steel?
Yeah, you steal, my boy.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a
But what is the power of steel compared to the power of flesh?
Right.
The
What is
hand that wields it.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. No. Yeah. But it's that'll be
James. Rest in
yeah.
peace.
My rest in peace, the late great James Earl Jones. So yeah, that's all I got, and I'll see. I'll let everybody know. But thank you, everybody who's watching. My guests, of course. Thank you all guys for joining me, and to the people who are watching. You guys always know we always keep it raw. We always keep it real. We don't bullshit. And remember, we are the Sci-Fi Society, and we are out. Do not leave, brothers. Peace. Thank you for everybody who was watching.
Yes, I will. I will die.
Can't believe I said good night.
Ooh, the Sci-Fi Society crew.
We are the Sci-Fi Society.
DJ Anubis. Here with the Meltdown Radio podcast with my special guest, Sci-Fi Century, our fearless leader and founder of the Sci-Fi Society.
That whole story, like, that's pay-per-view, guys. Like, you don't get a lot of that stuff.
All right, so okay.